Hello everyone, today I'm here to do a video where I talk about some of my favorite YA contemporary books. We all know that I love reading, yes, but I really love young adult contemporaries. And what exactly are those? So many different genres, subgenres, and things like that. So young adult contemporaries are within the young adult genre and they're contemporary, which means that are happening within our time. You know, it's just like everyday life. There's no fantastical elements to it. It's just usually about people and their stories. Maybe it's about romance. Maybe it's about somebody discovering who they are. Maybe it's a hard-hitting contemporary where they uncover some truths about themselves, things like that. So I really like YA contemporaries, even though I'm growing older. I'm in my 30s now, but I still read them. And I enjoy them still. They're just, you know, kind of the slice of life, just watching teenagers kind of grow up and, you know, learn how to live in this thing we called life. So yeah, I've done a number of these before. So when I was originally doing this video, I'm like, I'll do a top 10. Then I'm like, that's a little bit too hard. So I'm just gonna put a caveat of just some of my recent favorite YA contemporaries that I've read, because like I said, I've done a lot of these videos. I will link them all down below, maybe some in the cards as well, so you can see. I have a ton of them. So these are kind of within the last couple years of ones that I've really read and really enjoyed. First up, I want to talk about There's Something About Sweetie by Sanan Menon. I've read the majority of her books, and especially with this series, it's kind of, a lot of YA contemporaries have series where you don't need to read them in order. You can just read one out of them. They just kind of have adjoining characters through all of them. And this is my favorite from her series. I don't know what the series is even called, but I love this one. It is for sure my favorite. So this one we follow a character named Sweetie, who is a plus-size Indian American, and she's a track runner. She's got a lot going on in her life. She's got great friends. She's got a lot, you know? But her parents are always kind of forcing her to lose weight, also forcing her to find an Indian American boy that she can settle down and marry. Comes in Ashish, who is actually the brother of Rishi from her other book, When Dimple Met Rishi, and he's kind of a playboy. He gets, you know, he's got a lot going for him as well, but basically like their parents really want them to be together, and they decide, you know, let's just fake it and let's be together for the sake of them, you know, let's try it out. And of course, feelings become real feelings, and it's just adorable. I love the body positivity in this, because I love that Sweetie was a plus-size female girl that was cake butt at track, because just because you're plus size doesn't mean you can't be good at sports. It does mean you can be good at sports. Like, what the heck? So I love that. Sweetie was very self-assured of who she was and her body, and the romance was just so super sweet. The majority of these books will be YA contemporary romances. I am going to do a video strictly for hard-hitting contemporaries, because that's a whole different genre, like ones that are gonna make you sob, so there won't be a lot of those in this one. But this one was my favorite of the series. It's just all kinds of adorable. As always, I have to talk about a Casey West book, because Casey West is one of my favorite YA contemporary authors. I've read all of her books. Some of them, there's a lot of them I don't like, and there's some of them that I really enjoy, and Listen to Your Heart is one of my favorites by her. I still don't know which one is like my ultimate favorite. I still have to think on that, but I really enjoyed this one. This is about a girl named Kate who like lives on a lake. Like her family like owns this like cabin where they rent out jet skis and everything like that. Like, it sounds amazing. And basically this happens during the school year, and she gets roped into like being the host for her school's podcast, and she's like, I don't really want to do it, but it turns out that she's actually pretty good at it. And like, people will start calling, like, you know, asking for tips and advice, and there's this guy that asks for advice to tell his crush, and things kind of go from there. She has this crush on this guy that her best friend also has a crush on, and it's just a cutesy book. It's a perfect book to read in the summer, even though it takes place during the school year, because it's told on a lake. They go out in the lake a lot. Like, it sounds amazing. I'm just desperately wishing for warmer weather, as I say in every video I upload in January and February, and probably March too. But this is one of my favorite Casey West books. Can't go wrong with them. If you're just looking for something light and fluffy, Casey West can't steer you wrong. Rent a Boyfriend by Gloria Chow is a very recent read for me. I read this and just felt all of the heart eye emojis. So in this book, we have a character named Chloe who's in college, and her parents really want her to marry an Asian guy, to settle down, to marry, and she is getting tired of them like forcing this one particular guy on her that she loathes. And so she decides to go on this site called Rent for Your Rents, which apparently is a real thing, and she hires an Asian guy to like pretend to be her boyfriend to come home with her during the Thanksgiving Thanksgiving holiday to just kind of get her parents off her back. And that guy is Drew. And he goes to their house for the holidays, and of course him and Chloe start developing real feelings, and it's all about them developing a relationship while also Chloe dealing a lot with expectations from her Asian parents of what her life should be like, who she should be with, things like that. It's a beautifully sweet book. I adore it. I just like, I love the cover of this because it's just so cute and pink. It's just the perfect book to read if you want to feel all like the, again, hard eyes. I don't know why I said that, but I do. I want to talk about a book I've talked about a lot on this channel, but not recently. It's one of my all-time favorite YA contemporaries. Like, if I had to do like a top 10 of like all-time favorites, which is so hard, this would for sure be on it. And that is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is her second book and my favorite book by her. Like, I listened to this on audio, I want to say like 4 years ago, and I loved it. Before you ask, I have yet to see the movie adaptation. Been really bad with movie adaptations. I don't know if I'm just not into them anymore. I don't feel a need to watch them. I don't know. This book is told within 24 hours. We follow a girl named Natasha whose family is being deported to Jamaica because they are illegal immigrants, and she is very, very distraught about it because she loves living in New York. She wants to be there forever, and so on her last day she to this guy named Daniel. Like, they literally just bump into each other, and they kind of hit it off, and Daniel's like, you know, have you heard of this research where you can fall in love with 24 hours? And she's like, no, that's not like a real thing. And he's like, let's try it. And it's just basically about their journey within 24 hours of falling in love. They both come from very different families. Daniel's family has a lot of expectations for him to go to like Yale, and he's an Asian American. Just, oh gosh, it's just an amazing book. Like, the ending is just so like kind of open-ended, which I love, but goodness me, I'm sure you've heard a lot about this book with the adaptation, and maybe you've seen the adaptation but not have read the book because maybe you didn't enjoy it. I don't know. Are the reviews good on it? I don't know. But let me assure you that the book is phenomenal and it is a must read. Like, I just, I was like, I haven't talked about this in a while and I need to talk about it because I love it. And she actually has a new book coming out this year, so I am really excited about it. Tweet Cute by Emma Lord is also set in New York City, as a lot of books are, and it's just all kinds of adorable. We follow two characters named Pepper and Jack. Put those together, Pepper Jack cheese, which coincidentally, I don't really love pepper jack cheese. It's too much, too spicy. Anyway, they both come from very different families as well. Pepper's family has like this big kind of like restaurant burger chain, and it's going really well for them. And basically they come out with like this new like grilled cheese type of thing. And rumors have it that they stole it from Jack's family, who has like kind of a mom and pop's like diner, and he's like, you stole our recipe, how dare you? And it kind of begins this Twitter battle because they both head up their companies, like their family's company, like Twitters, and so they battle, and yet they go to school online and they get paired to do this project together and they become friends, but yet they don't know that they're online enemies. It's kind of got like a You've Got Mail feel to it. It's just adorable. Like, I loved it so desperately. I can't recommend it enough. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about this one, as probably all of these, but I find them all just so cute. Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett is my favorite Jen Bennett book. I've read all of her books before. She writes really good YA contemporary books. A character named Bailey, who is like this online movie buff, and she's in this forum where she meets her best friend Alex, and she has a crush on him, and you know, they just talk about movies all the time. And basically what happens is Bailey has to move in with her dad for the summer, and he lives in this really small, like kind of beachy town in California, and coincidentally that is where Alex lives, only Bailey doesn't tell him that she is moving there. She just moves there and she's like, maybe I'll scope out this guy and learn about him and try to find him. And she gets this job at like this museum where there's a security guard there that kind of makes her upset, but they kind of hit it off. But she's like, I still really like Alex, this online Alex. And it's not a spoiler to say it's in the dust jacket that you pretty much learn that the museum security guy that she's falling for that kind of irritates her is actually the online Alex, only they don't know. So it definitely another kind of You've Got Mail. I've got a You've Got Mail thing. It is what it is, but goodness me. It takes place in a small beach town. It's summery. I'm dreaming of summer. It is my favorite Jen Bennett book. Next up is A Cubans Girl's Guide to Tiantamara by Laura Namie Taylor. I love this one. This is about a character named Lila who a lot is happening in her life right now. Her abuela just died. Her boyfriend that she's been with for so long just breaks up with her, and she's just feeling really down, obviously, about all of these things. And her parents decide to send her to like Britain, to like her aunt's kind of like bed and breakfast, to kind of like just maybe like help her lift her spirits and get back on track. And it's really hard for her because she lives in Miami, Florida, and she loves living there. Her family has a restaurant. She just adores it. So she goes to Britain begrudgingly, and she starts cooking in her aunt's bed and breakfast and bringing some Miami flavor to England. And there she meets a whole set of friends there, a guy named Orion, that maybe they can have, you know, feelings for each other. And it's not so much romancy. It does have a romance undertone, but it's more about Laya, you know, discovering who she is outside of where she's always grown up at, because she loves Miami, Florida with a passion. Like, that is her hometown. That's where everything she loves, the culture, everything about it. And so she's rediscovering herself in a new place in Britain. And it's just a beautiful story. And I adored it. I thought the cooking was great. The friendships are really awesome in this book. I love a good YA contemporary with strong friendships any day. And the last book I want to talk about is Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I read this last year, and I think it was probably my favorite contemporary I read of 2020, maybe? Ooh, I don't know. That's a hard one. But gosh, I have read all of Rachel Solomon's books before, and her first two are very hard-hitting. Like, they will probably show up in my hard-hitting contemporaries video. But this one is so much different. Like, the tone is different. It's much more fun. It's lighter. It doesn't have the heavy undertones on it. Gosh, I'm obsessed with it. So this one takes place in Seattle, and it had so many, like, 10 Things I Hate About You references, which is my favorite movie of all time, so no surprise that I loved it. This book we found a character named Rowan, and it's like their last day of school. This book takes place in 24 hours. Maybe I have a thing for that too. And she is like really hoping to be named valedictorian because she's like has this arch nemesis named Neil. They have like battled with everything, like GPA, everything like that. And so when Neil gets named the valedictorian, she is quite obviously pissed and she's not happy about it. And then we follow the night of, there's like this big senior game called How, where it's like a scavenger hunt all throughout Seattle, and whoever wins like gets a big prize. And basically Rowan and Neil decide that's going to be their last battle, whoever wins How. And somehow they end up teaming up together, and they learn that, hey, maybe they're not enemies, maybe they quite like each other. Everyone could see that coming. But it was just all kinds of cute adorableness. I love a good enemies to lovers, no matter what genre it falls into. I'm there for it. So if you're looking for like a fun last day of senior scavenger hunt throughout Seattle, definitely pick this one up. And there you have it. Those are some recent contemporaries that I have just been loving. Have I read any this year that I've really loved? I don't know. I want to read more this year, but I'm in the greatest reading slump of my life right now. It happens. Hopefully I can kick it and read some more YA contemporaries. I would love to know what are some of your favorite YA contemporaries you've read recently. Leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.